Eric Schneiderman is the kind of guy who will do that. His opponent, Dan Donovan, says he doesn't want to be a sheriff of Wall Street. He doesn't believe that the Attorney General's office should be active in controlling and ensuring that the financial system of the United States, that's controlled straight from Wall Street, is there protecting the taxpayers and protecting the people. He thinks it should be left to its own devices. And as we recently saw what happens when you leave Wall Street to its own devices, it can bring the entire system down. We need an Attorney General who's going to be a strong advocate for all of New Yorkers, not just Wall Street, for everybody from Wall Street to Main Street, and that's why I'm supporting Eric Schneiderman. Eric Schneiderman has a long progressive record of going after the bad actors and bad apples across New York State as a New York State Senator, as well in his previous job as a public interest lawyer. We need a strong advocate who will ensure that Wall Street has the oversight that's necessary so that we don't have fiscal crises going forward. That's why Dan Donovan is wrong for New York, and I'm proud to support and continue my support for Eric Schneiderman to be our next Attorney General.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Eric.
It's a pleasure to be here with your award-winning Comptroller. They say that you can judge people by the company you keep. Well, I'm proud to stand here today to say that the kind of aggressive but fair-minded approach that Mark has taken in his work and with the audit functions of the Comptroller's office really is an example of what we have to do, not just to make sure that things function correctly and that people are getting their tax dollars spent in the right way, but that what we have to do and what the next Attorney General of New York State will have to do to restore public confidence in the markets and in the private sector. I'm running for Attorney General to be the people's lawyer, to be someone who will stand up for ordinary working men and women against powerful interests, whether it's financial services, banks, insurance companies, debt collectors, mortgage brokers. We're still reeling in this state from the grassroots consequences of the financial meltdown. We need to recalibrate our own laws and regulations, but in the meantime, the last thing we need is for the Attorney General's office, which has done a fine job of, approaching fraud and corruption and abuse on Wall Street, coming into agreements, whether it was Andrew Cuomo's work on auction rate securities, his work relating to the abuses by the rating agencies, or his work on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. This is at the office that has to be the activist watchdog for all the people of the state of New York. And I'm here to stand with Mark to say we have a smart public policy agenda to restore public confidence by being vigilant watchdogs in a way that helps restore the confidence we need in the markets. Americans have pulled $33 billion out of the securities markets this year. That reflects a fundamental loss of confidence, and it's up to us as public officials to ensure that the private sector does its part, that the government does its part, and that we rebuild the public confidence. I'm running for Attorney General to stay as the Sheriff of Wall Street, although my focus has been much more on the grassroots consequences of the economic meltdown. But I think that my Republican opponent's attitude, that in his words, he doesn't want to disturb the garden, takes us back to a time when you had a more passive approach to the AG's office, going back to the Bush era of laissez-faire economic policy that led to the economic meltdown. We're not going back. I'm going to be the kind of activist Attorney General the people of this state have come to expect, and working with forward-thinking public officers like Mark, I think New York is poised to have an economic takeoff that takes us far beyond where we were, and I look forward to being a part of that as the next Attorney General.
What do you think about coming into the heart of Carl Paladino's country?
I think of it more as Mark Poloncarz country, and that's certainly how, in the long run, I expect it will be viewed.